as I'm showing them to you. And after that, I will leave the floor open to a few questions if you have any questions about ingredients, because I'm guessing a couple of you might actually be cooking along. So I thought maybe if you have any doubts and all, you can ask me at that time. The next thing we'll do is we'll start working on our salad, the prep for the salad. While that's going on, then after that, I'll start showing you how to cook your vegetables, because honestly, your vegetables are very important for this curry, or meats, but we're doing a vegetarian curry. Then we cook the curry. We finish it off. We finish off the salad. We plate up, and yeah, questions again. Of course, I mean, I'm open to any questions or any discussion in between. Also, just let me know. Cool. Shall we guys begin? All right. Cool. So let's start with the ingredients. Let's circle around here first. Right. So what we're going to be making is an Asian, and I'm calling this an Asian salad specifically, and not a Thai salad, because the prime ingredient in this, one of the prime ingredients, is wakame. And wakame is not technically a Thai thing, but it works in all Asian cuisine. So it's a cucumber and wakame salad. This is wakame. So for those of you who have eaten wakame before, you're probably familiar. For those of you who haven't, this is what it is. Technically, it's dried seaweed. Okay. And essentially what you do with this is you just rehydrate it. So this much of wakame will actually give you a lot of salad or whatever you want to use it in. It tastes good in salads. It tastes good in soups. You can use it in stir fries. It's got a pretty high protein content, right? So it's actually a really healthy thing to have. And it's also, if you read, can you see this word here, umami? This is its primary flavor. So, okay, so let me explain umami a bit to you. So now, your basic flavor profile is, there's sour, sweet, salty, spicy, right? And then there's the fifth flavor profile, which you call umami. So technically, what umami is it's not a specific flavor in itself. Its role is to enhance flavors of everything else that goes with it, that's paired with it. Prime example, you might have heard of people using Ajinomoto. Ajinomoto is a glutamate salt. Its prime role in food is umami. So when you add umami, or you add Ajinomoto to anything, it just brings out the flavor of everything else in that dish. Interestingly, tomato ketchup, tomatoes have also got a level of umami, which is why your French fries end up tasting much better with ketchup. So yeah, so that's a little bit about umami. So back to our ingredients. That's your wakame. We'll be rehydrating this, which I will show you when we're actually cooking. Honey, any honey will do. I just happen to have this coriander honey, so I'm using it, but doesn't make a difference. Any honey will do. Sesame seeds, right? These are toasted sesame seeds. Just lightly roast them on the pan or in the oven or whatever you prefer, because it brings out the flavor a lot better. Sesame oil, this is really important. If you are buying sesame oil, try to buy a sesame oil from an Asian brand, because those are meant for Asian cooking. You've also got Indian sesame oil, tilka tel, or something that you also call gingerly oil. That is also very nice, but that the application for that is very different. It works well with our Indian flavors for South Indian pickles and stuff like that. Use a brand like Panta. Use any of these Asian brands, but get one of these if you're using it for Asian cooking. Lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, proprietary. I happen to have proprietary lemon juice, so I'm just going to be using that. Chili oil. Again, this is not essential. The only purpose of this is while we do our plating, but I'm just showing it to you anyway. It's a handy little thing to have. Cucumber, of course. So these are English cucumbers. Please make sure you get English cucumbers. There's far less chance of you getting bitter cucumbers when you get English cucumbers. They're much better for salads. All I've done is I've sliced them, and then I will show you what to do next when we're actually cooking it. Right, onions. So these onions need to be treated just a little bit. Okay, these have been sliced, and then they've been sort of resting in salt and a little bit of lime juice. You can also use vinegar. It's been about half an hour. You can already see that they're starting to turn a little pinker. Leave these for an hour or 2 hours and they'll be a lot more pink. We do this because it removes a lot of the rawness and pungency of the onion, which makes it taste much better for our salad. Um, Mint leaves. With mint leaves, what you always want to do, especially if it's for a salad, is you refresh them in water, and ideally cold water, right? So it retains the freshness a lot. If you see, not one of these mint leaves has turned black. So this is just a thumb rule for mint in any application, because mint is a real pain. Otherwise, it turns black in like a day, and then it's a real waste. You can also put them in water and put them in the fridge overnight, 2 days. Nothing will go wrong. That's what I have done. And salted peanuts. Any peanuts will do. But yeah, cool. So those are our prime ingredients for the salad. Now, I'm going to go around and show you the prime ingredients for our curry. Okay. First things first, like I said, this is really important, the curry paste. Okay. My favorite two brands to use are Real Thai, and there's another Thai one called Namjai. Both of these are really authentic Thai curry pastes, which is why I like working with them. Now, the reason I tend to pick Real Thai over Namjai is because if you look here, this is the vegetarian paste, which means it's a lot more versatile. The Namjai curry paste is more authentic in that fashion because it's got shrimp paste in it. So traditional curry paste will always have a little bit of shrimp paste, but then of course that means your entire vegetarian market will not be able to eat it. Um, in terms of ingredients, I told you I'll explain the ingredients to you. I will also show them to you over here because this is pretty accurate. Chilies, shallot, lemongrass, salt, garlic, galangal. So galangal is Thai ginger. I think I can actually show you what it is. Give me a second. Um, yeah, there you go. That's called galangal. It's a variety of ginger. It's a very potent sort of ginger. It's probably, it's got its taste profile is very different from the ginger we use, but it's also a very pungent sort of ginger. So this is what they use in flavoring pastes and all of that. Garlic, kaffir lime peel. Okay, so kaffir lime, I will be using kaffir lime leaves. Okay, in Thai cuisine, the word for kaffir lime is called makroot. So what they do is they actually take the rind of the fruit, and they use that in making the curry and not the curry paste and not the leaves. The spices are a little bit of cumin, coriander, and a wee bit of turmeric. So this is essentially the blend I also used to use when I cooked it. Obviously, chilies are the most important part. But why I was saying is it'll be a problem doing that is, number one, it takes a lot of time. It would have been extremely noisy because that mixer would have been on for half an hour. Your ears would have got fried. Also, kaffir lime peel. This is an operational hazard. I mean, in the sense that it's not easy getting the fruit and then getting the peel from it and all. So for all practical purposes, this works better. Sorry. Theoretical knowledge, of course, I gave you that already. Cool. So that's the curry paste. Then tofu, right? I'm doing a veg curry for you, so our main protein is going to be tofu. There's a reason that I haven't cut this and prepped it the way I have everything else, because I want to show you firsthand how to work with silken tofu. It's very different than working with regular tofu, or for that matter paneer, because it's, as the name suggests, it's so silken that it will break at the slightest touch. And if you don't know how to unpack it properly, you'll end up with a tofu burji at the end of it, which we don't want, of course. So the brand I've got here is Morinu. You get this, you'll get it at food hall. You might also get it at Nature's Basket or something, or order it off Amazon. It's a bit expensive, but well worth it as well. Then, of course, coconut milk. Now, this is again a really important part. Okay. Um, you want to look for a coconut milk, any coconut cream or coconut milk that has anything above 15% of fat in it, right? So, of the actual coconut cream in it. So, Real Thai makes some really nice coconut milk. Kara also makes good coconut milk. Dabar's coconut milk is also really nice. But make sure you get a good coconut milk, because this is a deal breaker for your curry. If you don't have a nice coconut milk, you can use the best curry paste and everything else, but your curry will not have that flavor that it should have. Okay, so we're going to be using this. So some of you are probably also wondering if you can use coconut milk powder. Yes, you can. In fact, let's say you're hosting like, I don't know, 10, 15 guests, you have a party at home and you want to like, pull out your best dishes, by all means, because that's what will give you volume. But make sure to also supplement it with some coconut milk at the end, because this is what gives it that richness, right? The thing with coconut milk powder versus actual coconut milk is extracted by taking freshly grated coconut, and then you sort of blitz it or churn it a bit with some water, and then through a muslin cloth you literally squeeze out all the goodness from it. So now that is what this is. And then the remaining bit that you've got after squeezing it out, that is dehydrated, and that's what coconut milk powder is. So that if clearly there's a big difference in the quality you'll get. But I mean, you can use a mix of both. Basil. Now, this again is really important. I would urge you to try and get Thai basil. Okay, y'all are not here right now. You can't tell the aroma, but give it a smell. You can smell it. It's got a very, yeah, it's got a very different aroma. It's specifically for Thai cuisine or any Asian cuisine. Look for Thai basil. I have done almost all my vegetable shopping off of this place called Gourmet Garden. They operate in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and also Chennai now. They're a good platform. Like, I get a lot of good ingredients from them. They sort of do hydroponic cultivation, and the way they operate is once they've got your order, they harvest it literally the day that they're actually sending it to you. So I've actually found that I get better yield over there. The prices may be marginally higher, sure, but at the end of it, if I'm picking up like half a kilo of anything, I'm actually getting almost half a kilo of that to utilize. And the thing is, because it's been harvested fresh, I actually get it on really good quality. When you go to your local markets, many times it's obviously been harvested and then got through like a supplier or a distributor or whatever before that. So yeah, so it's worth getting it, especially if you're looking for these kind of ingredients. Bird eye chilies, I have already chopped these. Please try and get bird eye chilies. It makes a world of difference to your food. Don't use regular green chilies and all. You won't get the same flavor. These are actually not that difficult to get. If you look at it on, you can even dunzo it from a lot of places. Right. Moving on. Okay, certain essential herbs. These are sliced lemongrass. Of course, everyone knows what that is. This is Kaffir lime peel. Sorry, not peel, Kaffir lime leaf. Kaffir lime peel is what I said you use in making the curry paste from the fruit. This is the leaf of the same plant. I mean, if you have a lemon plant at home, just use that. Otherwise, get these. Okay, they're pretty much similar. Very strong aroma. It adds a beautiful dimension to your curry. Again, for me, this is a deal breaker in my curry. And now these, I don't know if y'all are familiar with these, but I decided I might as well get them for this session. These are called pea aubergines because they're almost like green peas if you look at it. These are actually a variety of brinjal. So you call it pea aubergine or you call it Thai brinjal. I think it's also called suntakai or something, suntakai or something. I believe you use it. Some people use this in sambar as well. So if you're lucky, you'll get these in the market anyway. Otherwise, you'll have to look for it a little bit. But it adds a very nice crunch to your curry. Okay, so that's why I use it. Vegetables. So this, I'm going to be cooking them. The reason I've just kept them like this is because I want to show you how to cook vegetables properly. That is again a very important part of how you're doing your thing. So pak choy, zucchini, mushrooms. You can use any variety you want. I happened to chance upon these nice oyster mushrooms on Gourmet Garden, so I'm just going to use these. But again, your regular mushrooms and all are fine. Baby corn, broccoli, and I mean you can use whatever vegetables you like. That's coriander paste. Where and how we use this, I will show you later. That's the last part. And these are bamboo shoots. I love using these. They go really nicely in a curry. Bamboo shoots, even water chestnuts if you can. You can use them in anything. They come canned, so they don't really spoil. It's a useful thing to have. So Right. So I guess I ran you guys through all the ingredients. I think let's start with the salad first, and then we'll come around to the curry part after this. Yeah. Cool.
We've
Okay.
gotten one question. For people who are not okay with
Yeah.
using mushrooms, is there any other substitute we can get?
Sorry, I didn't get that. People who,
Don't eat mushrooms. Is there any
if
other
they don't
vegetable?
like mushrooms, is there another substitute?
Yeah.
If you don't like mushrooms, use any other vegetable. I mean, you can't really substitute mushroom with anything because mushroom is a category on its own. But use whatever other vegetable you like. I mean, you can use bell peppers. Taste really nice in this curry. It adds a little crunch to it, so you can use bell peppers. You can use more green leafy vegetables if you like. Pak choy you use. You can add things like Chinese cabbage and all to it also, like big pieces of it. You could do that. You could use any other English vegetable. There's really no hard and fast rule on it.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? You said there were a bunch of questions, right?
Not as of now. But I
All
think
right.
when people will have questions later, they'll put it in chat and I'll ask you.
All right. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and
Wait,
start
sorry.
with
We
the
have
salad.
one question. Simran has raised her hand.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. I wanted to use pan-thai curry paste, and is that also good, or is there some difference with the ingredients?
Sorry, your voice is lagging a bit. Can you please repeat your question? I couldn't hear it very clearly.
Have you
Hello.
used the pan-thai curry paste, and if so, like, is it a good option to use? Because I had that at home, so I wanted to know your opinion on.
Okay, in my opinion, I don't know. I've had a very confusing sort of experience with Pantai. If you notice, this sesame oil I used is by Pantai, and I really like it. I could actually swear by it. It's that good. Um, so for one of my menus I did, I was looking for coconut milk at the last minute, and it just so happened that Pantai had coconut milk. I bought like I think 15 cans of it, and it was the worst coconut milk I've ever worked with. I'm not joking. It was water. It was just water. It was just water. And that's when I realized, because Dabur was available easily. It's an Indian brand. That's when I started valuing Dabur coconut milk a lot more after I had this experience with Pantai. So I'm sorry, I cannot really vouch for it. But if you have it at home, try. There's no harm. I'm guessing your coconut. I mean, I'm guessing with the curry paste, it should work. If it has, at least 80% of the ingredients that I've shown you in this, go ahead, try. It shouldn't be a problem. Maybe you can tell me
Thank
how it is
you
also.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah, any more questions?
I don't. Okay, we have one question. Can green
Go ahead.
curry paste be replaced with red curry paste? I wasn't able to get the green one.
Yeah, of course. It's the same method. I have red curry paste as well. I was toying between doing red or green, but yeah, since Yesha liked the picture of the green curry, I said I'll do that. But yeah, the method is the exact same. There's just maybe one ingredient, which is the coriander paste, which you won't use in a red curry. You use it in a green curry, but otherwise it's all the same. You can substitute. Cool. Any more questions for now?
No, I think you can
No?
start.
All right, cool. So we're going to start with the Asian salad. First up, I'm going to show you how to rehydrate these. It's really simple, honestly. I'm just going to heat up a bit of water. I'm using warm water to do it only because we've got a 2-hour slot in which we need to do all of this. But honestly, you can put it in normal water and rehydrate it over a couple of hours as well. Okay, so I'm taking this much. Even this much is probably more than I'll actually require, but it's okay. I'll actually show you how it looks when it rehydrates. So we'll take a bit more. Okay, so this is I mean, roughly if you do it by tablespoons, this is 2 tablespoons at the most. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for that water to heat up. I'm just going to pour hot water over it and cover it. And you just squeeze the water out of it later, right? Um, while that's happening, so the cucumbers. So these cucumbers, essentially what you need to do is you need to salt them, right? Salting them removes some of the moisture from it. Okay. It also similar to the onions, although there's nothing wrong with eating raw cucumber, they're absolutely delicious. But for this salad, we want to maybe just remove a little bit of that rawness while salting them. So there are two methods to do it. The simplest way is, of course, just put salt, mix it, and leave it. It will leach out water. Another way which I picked up from a video I was watching, which I actually liked, is that you brine it. Okay, because with cucumber, it's got so much moisture that if you salt it and leave it for too long, it ends up becoming mushy, and nobody wants that. So you instead put it in salted water for maybe half an hour. Same thing. It actually retains its crunch much better. So my water is heating up over here. So I'm going to start by, you got that? Yeah, okay. All right, that's it. And I'm just going to cover that. Yeah, so you just put a lid on it and leave that aside. Cucumber, yeah, put it in a bowl, right? I am going to pour some hot water over it. So when you're doing this brining thing with cucumber, you want to make sure your water is nice and hot first up. And I'm going to add some salt to this. I've got my little salt teaspoon. It's half a teaspoon by measure. So I'm going to show you that way so it's easier for you. So be a bit generous with the salt, at least 1.5 to 2 teaspoons, right? And just gonna sort of mix that up essentially. There you go. Right, so now we're going to leave this like this. You don't have to cover it, okay, because you're going to be draining it out eventually anyway. So we're going to leave that for half an hour. Now I am going to make the dressing for this. Okay, so right, just going to use a jar. So my favorite way to make any dressing is just use a jar. There's no need for a whisk. There's no need for a fork. No need for a spoon. It's a much simpler way to do everything. Whenever you make any dressing, the only thing that you need to keep as a rule of thumb is that you use the same measurement for everything. So in this case, I'm taking a tablespoon. Right. So here we go. Well, I'm starting with sesame oil. So it's a soy, sesame, lime, chili, honey. That's the flavoring for this dressing. So any dressing, any vinaigrette is essentially either 2 parts oil and 1 part vinegar, or 3 parts oil and 1 part vinegar. Sesame oil is a really strong tasting oil. So I'm going to do, by vinegar, I don't necessarily mean vinegar, by the way. I mean anything that's acidic. So in this case, it's lime juice. Sesame oil has got a pretty profound and strong flavor. So I'm going to stick with just 2 of that. Okay. And instead of doing just 1 part of lime juice, I'm going to do 2 parts again, because it's a strong flavor. And we're also going to be putting a lot of chili into this. So the, the sourness and tartness from the lime juice cuts off the heat of the chili. So again,
We have one question. Someone said that they don't have sesame oil. What can they use instead of it for now?
Instead of sesame oil, honestly, sesame oil is quite important for this dish. It gives it a really nice flavor. If you really don't want to use sesame oil, maybe you can substitute it with olive oil. I think that could still work for your salad. But try to get sesame oil if you can, because it really does add a really dimension flavor to this. Because the thing is, sesame works really well with wakame. In Asian food, sesame oil is quite important. So I'm adding a bit of roasted sesame seeds to this. So I've just done 2 pinches, but whatever works for you, I guess. Um, chili. So I'm adding. Do you guys like spicy? How spicy do you guys eat your food? You all are only going to be eating all this later. So anything is fine. Okay. So that sounds like a challenge. So let's make it spicy. Okay, so 1.5 tablespoons of chopped bird eye chilies. Okay. And honey. Okay. Honey, I'm just going to use all of this, but it's approximately 1.5, 2 spoons. So yeah, so just little over a tablespoon of honey.
How much lime juice did you use again?
I used 2. So I told you, no, I did an equal quantity of lime juice and oil. Because I was using sesame oil, if for whoever wanted to know if they can use a substitute, if you're using olive oil, one of lime juice is enough. 1 tablespoon of lime juice is enough. And soy sauce. So soy sauce is what you use for salt in Thai food. You actually use very little regular salt because most of your salt comes from soy sauce or fish sauce, like I explained. So we've got spice in this, we've got sweetness in this, we've got sadness from the lime juice. So now we just need to put salt. Again, I'm doing 2 spoons. So just to recap your proportions, the proportions I've used are, if you look at a ratio, it's 1:1:1 of sesame oil, soy, and lime juice, right? And I mean, even the chili was almost 2 tablespoons. So 1:1:1 straight through over there. Cool. So all this goes in. Now I'm just gonna put a lid on it, and actually that simple. There's no need for a whisk. There's no need for anything else. It's just, yeah, there you go. That's your dressing. We're going to keep this to the side. Use it later. Okay, so we're mostly done with our salad. The pickled onions, I'm guessing you guys understood earlier. This is going to go in the salad as well. It's already starting to turn a little pinker, as you see. You can see the water also of it. It's sort of, you see. Cool. So we'll get back to this now finally when we're actually tossing it and plating it. Now we're going to head over and I'm going to show you how to cook vegetables for your curry. If it were meats, I would have shown you how to do the meats. We're doing only vegetables, so I'm going to show you how to do that. That's really important. And after that, we'll actually cook the curry. Okay. Cool. So first things first, the most important part is the kind of pan you use. I happen to have this cast iron grill pan. It's beautiful for cooking. I mean, almost anything, vegetables and meats, you name it. You can also use a regular non-stick saucepan. I would suggest that you use something non-stick because it's just easier that way. Or you use something with cast iron. Whatever you use, try and use something with a heavy bottom. The reason I say heavy bottom is because heavy bottom pans take longer to reach a particular heat. And once they do reach a particular heat, they maintain a temperature at that heat. With aluminium, I don't know, brass, with a lot of other pans, which have got a thinner base, the thing is they heat up really fast, right? And what happens is it ends up burning whatever's in it, which is why most of the time you use things like handis for liquids where you're boiling something. You use things like a kadhai when you're roasting something, when you're making a bhaji or like or whatever, a curry or anything like that, because you want even heat, right? So there you go. I'll keep my pan on. It's cast iron, so it takes a little time to heat up. So in fact, while that's happening, if you guys have any questions for me, go ahead. Anyone? Anything? Not so far, I think. Okay, cool.
Guys, also if you want him to slow down or repeat any parts, just let us know in chat. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let me know if you want me to repeat anything. All right, cool. All right.
Someone has asked, did he add salt in the dressing?
No, you don't, because you're using light soy sauce, like I said. So light soy sauce is the primary flavor is salt. So you don't. So yeah, there you go. So you don't add salt. I am using Kikkoman soy sauce if you want to know. This is a Japanese soy sauce. It's actually the best brand of soy sauce you can get. This thing is aged for anywhere from 10 to 14 years. So it's got a lovely flavor, which is why I'm using it for salad. Um, but you can use any other light soy sauce as well. You get this brand called Likamki. Likamki makes some really nice light soy sauce. You get light soy sauce at most, um, stores these days. Don't get dark soy sauce. Please don't ever do that, because there's a huge difference. Even if not in the taste, there's a profound difference in the color. So the thing is, you can use this as a salt substitute because it won't really color your food. Dark soy sauce, you use even a bit of it, your food is going to look really different. Your green curry will become, I don't know, it'll look like chole. But yeah, still getting there. Okay, so
we've gotten 2 more questions.
go
So
ahead.
I'll just give the shorter one first. Which label Kikkoman are you using?
Which water
The red
Kikkoman?
one? The label of the bottle. Can you just show that again?
Yeah, there you go.
And while he's showing that, if we're making a chicken curry, how should we prepare the chicken?
So if you're doing a chicken curry, okay, good question. So assuming you're using boneless chicken, again, you want to season it just a little bit. So you add maybe a bit of soy sauce to it, okay? A little bit of any herb that you want. So you can use, I like using lime leaf, Kaffir lime leaf. You can also add some lemongrass to it, sliced lemongrass. Do that and just leave it for maybe like 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. After that, again, the same thing. You use a nice hot pan, and what you want to do is you want to sear it. So searing implies that you put raw meat on a really hot pan, okay? You wait for it to brown on one side, turn it over, you wait for it to brown on the other side. So that ensures your meat is about 50% cooked and it retains most of its juices. And then you finish it off inside your curry. You cook it in your curry later on. So that will prevent it from overcooking. And searing it also gives a much better flavor to your chicken in general. If you're using seafood, let's say you're using fish or prawn, do not follow the same process. Your seafood will overcook for sure. With prawns, honestly, the best way to cook prawns is you keep one thumb rule in mind. Whatever liquid you're putting it in, the liquid needs to be close to boiling or even light bubbles. It needs to be that hot. When it's that hot, put prawns in it. Count for a minute at the most. Your prawns are cooked. Anything over that, your prawns tend to become rubbery. A lot of you might have had this experience where you've eaten prawns that are just unpleasant because you have to keep chewing and chewing and chewing. That happens because your prawns are overcooked. So prawns take very little time to cook. Fish also takes very little time to cook. You do not need to sear it separately. Just do it directly in the curry and finish it off that way. Okay, so I guess were there more questions? Sorry, I forgot to ask. Any more
No,
questions?
that's all. That's all.
That's all? Okay, cool. So, right, so our pan sort of at the right temperature now. All right, so let's start with our baby corn. Okay, heat your pan up nicely. Light drizzle of oil, not too much, just a bit. Okay, so baby corn, ideally, a lot of people will like to blanch it, right, and then cook it. I like to just dry cook it because you get a nice color on it. It may take a little longer, but I'm fine with that. I mean, I'd rather have a tasty vegetable than something that tastes very boiled. So I'm going to be doing baby corn and broccoli together, okay, because they both are going to have similar cooking times. So we're just going to char these nicely. I am also going to be putting a little bit of zucchini because I've got space in my pan. Right. And now we're just going to leave this in between. We'll keep coming over, checking on them, turning them over. In the meanwhile, um, let me take you guys and show you what I've done with the rice. So I have already cooked my jasmine rice. I would have loved to do a demo and actually show you how to cook this from scratch. But unfortunately, for some strange reason, we were not able to get raw jasmine rice yesterday. So I've cooked this, but essentially what you need to do is soak jasmine rice. So you need to wash it probably once, um, soak it in water. Okay, soak it in water for about half an hour. Okay, and then cook it in a rice cooker. Okay, I'd say use a rice cooker. Don't do it directly on the gas and all, because jasmine rice is kind of a sticky rice, and unless you're really used to cooking sticky rice, then you might find that it becomes very mushy. So put it in a rice cooker. If you want to know how much water to put in the rice cooker, for me this um, this works. I use about this much over my finger, right? That much of water. So after I pour the water in, add a bit of salt to it. Add some herbs. So I have used pandan leaves, right? You can put pandan leaves in it. You can put lemongrass in it. You can put lime leaf in it. Add some of that and then steam it. It makes a world of difference. Um, this is 250 grams of rice, by the way. So yeah, I mean, so just to give you an idea, if you make even half a kilo of rice, it will be enough for, I mean, at least 3 people. Yeah, so 3 to 4 people. Half a kilo is enough.
So for the people who haven't made their rice yet, I think this is the point where you cook it, right?
Yeah. Sorry, yes, my bad. If you haven't made your rice yet, this would be the point where you do that. You can, if you soak your rice, okay, soak it, wash it once, soak it for half an hour. But since you're doing it in an ice cooker, even if you soak it for 15-20 minutes, it's enough. And then you guys on water. Yeah. Turn those over a little. If you see they've just started getting charred. So when I'm grilling vegetables like this, the idea is that they take a little longer, okay, than boiling it. We use less water in it, but you get a really nice product at the end of it. I will be adding a little bit of water to the pan just for some steam, but that we will do a little later once these are cooked more. Okay, now I'm going to add some of my pak choy to this. Pak choy takes very little time to cook, really very little time to cook. So I've just washed the leaves and cut them. I've kept the leaves looking a little whole because this is baby pak choy. So with baby pak choy, it wilts. Any pak choy will wilt really fast. So your leaves are actually not going to be that big when you put them in the curry. The other vegetables, for example, this baby corn and all, I'm not actually going to be putting these entire long sticks into the curry because I want pieces. But it looks nicer while cooking this way. So later, before we toss them into the curry, I will just cut them and show you what I'm doing. Right. So while that's cooking, let me now show you how to prep your tofu. I said I'm going to keep that as a separate chapter, right? Silken tofu can tend to be a little difficult to work with because it breaks really fast. Most packets will tell you, because this is just how they all are, they will tell you to snip it off over here. I have found that when you do that, by the time you take the tofu out, it breaks. So my method of doing it is I just cut it right through the center, right? So I cut it with the packet right through the center. Just use a slightly sharp knife. It will ooze out a bit of water. It's okay. We will take care of that as well. Right. And then see, I mean, just with the knife, you can see it's already started crumbling a bit. That's how delicate this thing can be. And yeah, there you go. This is the thing with tofu. So it's really, really soft. I mean, I literally just do this. I'm not even using the sharp side of my knife and it's crumbles. Just cut it into cubes. This step is a bit messy, which is why I contemplated doing it in advance. But then I decided, I might as well show you what to expect with tofu. So yeah. Okay, I'm going to just lift this up with my knife. Okay, because again, I don't want to use my fingers too much. They will again start breaking a lot. All right, so that is your tofu. Okay, our pasta is more or less done at this stage. Okay, you can see it's wilted a little bit, right? This is all we want because later it's also going to boil a bit in the curry. So I'm just going to take our pasta and keep it aside. Okay. There you go. That's your pak choy. Okay.
So are we going to be like cooking these vegetables only halfway through and then adding it to cook in the curry itself, or we're just going to cook it completely right now and in the end add it to the curry?
Not halfway through. I am going to be partially cooking them, yes, but not just halfway. Okay. I'm probably going to be cooking them at least 70-80% through. With things like pak choy, halfway through is enough because it's a leaf. It cooks really fast. Baby corn and broccoli take a little longer, which is why I started them off right at the start while the others cook on the side. So yeah, it's going to be mostly cooked.
Okay.
So the zucchini again is cooked. Again, zucchini is a vegetable which has some nice crunch as long as you don't overcook it. So it's got a little bit of char. If you can see, the color is a little pale on the flesh, right? That means it's cooked. That means you do not want to cook it any further. Broccoli and baby corn will still take a little more time. Okay. In the meanwhile, I'm going to show you mushroom, how to cook your mushrooms. So with mushrooms, your thumb rule is that you use a really high heat. a lot of the times, and I mean, it took me also the longest time to learn this. I was fortunate because another chef actually guided me through it. But with mushroom, many times what ends up happening is probably when you cook it at home, you will realize that very soon after you put it into the pan, there's a lot of water that comes out, and then more than roasting or sauteing your mushroom, it sort of boils, and then that just kills a lot of the flavor of mushrooms. So the way to cook your mushrooms is you start with a really hot pan. You use very little, almost no oil as well. You can do it without oil if you're using a good non-stick pan, and you just put your mushrooms when they're really nice and hot. So what that does is the temperature is high enough for it not to let the water slowly leach out. Instead, it has a high heat. It cooks over at a high heat, and the flavor, color, everything is much better. Um, so do start using this as a thumb rule when you're cooking mushrooms. It could be for anything, but it makes a huge difference to the way you cook your mushrooms. So, I mean, this pan is nice and hot. At this point, you can see it's literally smoking. This is what I want to cook mushrooms, which is why I waited it out. Um, I am going to add my mushrooms in like this whole. I will be cutting them later. If you're using button mushrooms, go ahead, cut them, and then put it in.
Oh, sorry, could you repeat what type of mushrooms you've used again?
So these are called oyster mushrooms. They're called oyster mushrooms because of this shape, right? If you've seen an oyster shell, the inside of an oyster shell is sort of, I mean, I'm bending it a little bit, but that's to explain it to you. It sort of looks like this, give or take, right? So that's why these are called oyster mushrooms. In terms of flavor profile, I really like these mushrooms because they're a very meaty mushroom. Of course, there's nothing non-vegetarian about it, so no worries there. But meaty in the sense it's got that texture. It's got a very sort of robust, meaty texture. Got a nice bite to it. Not very easy to come by. So if I do ever find it at any place, I just go ahead and order it. It tastes really nice in omelets. It tastes really nice in stir fries. It will taste really nice in the curry as well, of course.
And what oil have you poured on the top? Is it just
I've
it
just
right
used
now?
regular, so I'm using rice bran oil, but I mean whatever regular vegetable oil you use for cooking. It's not a specific, it's not a special oil, so to say.
Okay.
Anything that you normally use. Now you see that this is what you want. You want it to like sort of almost char. And now if you look at the pan, you'll see, if you zoom in, you'll see almost no water over here. There is nothing that's boiling over. If you see our baby corn also, it's nicely charring by now. So our broccoli at this point is almost done. We're about 70-80% there, and it's got enough color on it. Okay. So this I'm just going to finish off in the curry later. So I'm going to take this out into our plate along with the rest of the vegetables. And the baby corn and mushroom I will take out together. Okay.
Guys, if you are easily able to follow, if everything's good, you can just give me a thumbs up on chat or
Yeah,
as you
please go
mentioned.
ahead and ask me in case there's anything you didn't get or I'm not audible at some point. I'm just going to quickly rinse my cutting board because then I'm going to show you how to prep um, the bamboo shoots, because that's the last bit of prep we need before we start actually cooking our curry. And when we're cooking our curry, I want the entire focus sort of the camera to be there. So which is why I'm doing all this in advance. Yeah, so our mushrooms are almost done. Yeah, so I'm going to show you how to cut the bamboo shoots, and after that we'll take the mushrooms and this out as well, the baby corn. Cool. So if you come here, I'm just going to show them. There's really nothing to this. These are bamboo shoots. They're already in brine, which means they're already soft. If you, I don't know if you guys have ever worked with fresh bamboo shoots and all at home, or I mean, if your families, parents, grandparents, or anything get them. So at my grandparents' house, they do get bamboo shoots every now and then. It is an extremely bitter thing to use unless you treat it. So what they do is this is actually the core of it. This is like the inside part of it. There's for a bamboo shoot this thick. There is like this much of uh, fiber and stem and all out of it. They peel all of that. They take the more tender core, and then this has to be soaked in brine, and it has to be soaked in brine for at least a week, if not more, because otherwise it's so horribly bitter you will never be able to eat it. These taste good though, they're treated. That's why I say if you're getting bamboo shoot, you might as well get a proprietary canned one. They're easily available. I Amazon this most of the time. So I'm just sort of roughly cutting them up. Bamboo shoots taste very good in a stir fry as well, just by the way. Right.
Can you tell us what brand you use?
Sure, it's called MKR Foods, MRK Foods, sorry. It sells by the brand name Freshos. Okay. Freshos you will find on, I got this off Amazon, but you will find Freshos on Big Basket. Freshos also does a variety of vegetables, which you will find on Big Basket. They're good, so you can get Freshos. Like I've used Freshos, we used to use Freshos at the Taj as well, which is why I even know the brand, so it's good. You can go for it. This is done, the baby corn, okay, and so are our mushrooms. So I like my Thai curry to have a lot of variety in it, which is why, I mean, it may just be one curry, but if you see, there's a lot of things that we're putting into it. It does take a little bit of prep, but then it's well worth the wait as well. Cool. So here you go. This is our entire range of things that are going to go in the curry. There's some bamboo shoot, mushrooms, baby corn, broccoli, zucchini, pak choy, and not to mention we have got all those herbs as well over there, and the tofu. Okay. I'm just going to turn the heat off on this one. Do you want to shoot the curry on this range or this range? What's more convenient? Where are you getting better? That one? Okay. Hell, right now. No, it's cool. It's cool. You just might want to move. I need to kind of put it in there. Give me a second. All right, cool. So we can start on our curry now. I am using a heavy bottom saucepan for this. Okay, I really would recommend you use a heavy bottom saucepan. Do not use a handi or something with a light bottom. It's not going to be easy because your curry paste can burn. Right. I am opening my curry paste for you guys. So this is about 50 grams. This will easily make 2 to 3 portions even. Okay, so one of these is enough for a meal for two. You also get like larger packs of it, right? Of real Thai and all. You get like these jars. You can get one of them as well. You get these vegetarian ones. You also get the non-vegetarian regular ones. But yeah. All right. So I'm putting my gas on and oil. You may need to be a bit generous with the oil with this curry because the thing is you need to roast that paste. So roasting it does take some oil. So I'm actually going to be putting like a layer of oil here. Use whatever oil you want, whatever oil you feel is healthy. Go for it. Even if you're using olive oil, I'd say you can do it because the curry's flavor is so strong, like the paste and all of that, it will still overpower the olive oil. So if you've got for any health reasons and all, you have a specific oil that you like using, please by all means go ahead and use it.
How much curry paste is that again?
That's 50 grams. Oh, okay, sure. Okay, that's 50 grams. I'll show you. It's written here. There you go. So 50 grams, if you're wondering in terms of tablespoons, how much does that convert to? It's give or take 3 tablespoons. In general, 1 teaspoon is 5 grams or 5 ml, if you're using water, that is. And 1 tablespoon is 15. Okay, and if you want, we can actually put that to test over here now. There you go. So I haven't, if you're wondering why there isn't too much of a sizzle and all, I have deliberately not waited for my oil to become very hot, because this paste will start burning really soon, which we do not want. So I'd rather we just cook it on a low heat, but cook it slowly with a lot of love. So that's better. So yeah, 3 tablespoons. There you go. Right. So now the idea is what we're doing here is we are roasting our curry paste. Okay. We will be adding various herbs and seasonings, things like soy sauce and all to it while we're roasting it. Roasting the curry paste is what is the most important while making your curry. In terms of what to put in your curry, I already explained which ingredients are very important. Your coconut milk is of prime importance. Then, of course, your curry paste. While cooking the curry, the first and foremost step is roasting this nicely. So I had started on a high heat. Can you see already you have, sides and all could start to stick and all. So you go and reduce your flame. Okay. Keep it on a nice low heat. Okay, I've mixed it in. Now while it's roasting, I'm going to slowly start adding my herbs and flavoring and all to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my sliced lemongrass. The reason I add this so early on is lemongrass is really like it's quite like tough to bite into and all of that. So I don't want to leave it for the last. Also, let it give out as much flavor as it can now. It will soften and tenderize while eating the curry. A lot of people don't like pieces of lemongrass in their food actually. I've realized that with some of my customers. But the thing is, the traditional, authentic cuisine, the way it's done is you do have whole pieces of herb in it. So if you're someone who really, I mean, if it's a complete deal breaker for you and it's a complete put off to have like pieces of lemongrass and all, you can take these stalks of lemongrass, you can blitz them with a bit of water or a bit of water and a bit of oil, make a paste of it and do the same thing. It will serve the same purpose and you won't have that experience.
I'm now going to be adding in my chilies to this, my Dora chilies. Again, I'm adding them early so that they give out a lot of the spice they have. I'm putting a good tablespoon or so on this. Okay, now you can see this thing is drying out a bit. You don't want it to be so dry also. So at this point, I anyway was going to add soy sauce to this curry. By soy sauce, again, I'm stressing on the fact that it needs to be light soy sauce. Do not use really? Oh, is this better? This is the mic. Is this better? Yeah, there we go. It's fine. Is it fine, or do you want to change the? It is fine. You can tell, right? Just fine. We'll log in once again.
I think they're gone.
They're joining back.
I guess give it 2 minutes to joining back.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good to go. Okay. Hello again, guys. So anyway, so I was saying that you can see it's releasing a bit of the oil, but it's also drying up. I'm going to be adding soy to this now. Again, light soy, like I said, that's important. If you put dark soy in it, your color of the curry is going to go all over the place.
Someone has joined a little bit late and they wanted you to explain the curry paste again. I know you've bought the packaged one, but if they were to make it from scratch, what all would they put?
Okay, so they need green chili. Okay, they need onion. They need garlic. They would need I should put the exhaust on for you. Yeah, they'll need onion. They'll need garlic. They need green chili. They need lemongrass stalks. They need kaffir lime or makrut, the fruit, the peel of it. Okay, and in terms of spices, they need coriander and cumin. And a bit of turmeric. Turmeric is optional. They don't need to. Turmeric is essentially just for color adjustment. So these are the things they need. The way to do it is it's two parts. You make a paste of your herbs, which means you make a paste of the lemongrass, galangal. I forgot to mention galangal. There's also galangal in it. Lemongrass, galangal, and your kaffir lime peel. You make a paste of that. Then you toast and powder the cumin and coriander. It's usually a 1:1 ratio of cumin and coriander. And the chilies, you make a paste of it. Chilies, the way I had learned to do it is we used a variety of chili. We didn't use just one green chili. Because chilies, you never know. Sometimes they can be extremely spicy. And some of them are, I mean, they're better for things like color and volume, but not as good for, but they're less spicy. So use a blend. If you're using a very spicy chili, do a 1:4. Use 4 parts or 3 parts maybe of a less spicy chili and 1 part of a very spicy chili, green chili, of course. Okay, so while that.
Yeah, sorry. We've also shared this list on the WhatsApp group. So whoever wants it, can you take it from there?
Right, so I added about 1 ladle of this. So this would be, I think, anywhere between 70 to 100 ml of soy sauce into that. Okay. The idea is I want to cook this slowly, but I don't want it to dry out. Okay, so a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of water. Now, I have measured the water and kept it so you understand. This is 200 ml of water. My coconut cream is 400 ml. This is 200 ml. So I would use 200 ml at the most because I want to use primarily coconut milk or coconut cream. So I may even use like 600 of coconut milk for 200 of water. But essentially, whatever amount of water you're using, you use at least 2 times that of coconut milk. Right. So a little bit of water. I'm just going to be putting in the water a little bit, little by little. Right. Now, what we want to wait for is for oil separation to happen. So when I'm roasting this, I want to eventually see, small layer of oil forming on the top. That means it's actually cooked over. The color doesn't look very, very green right now. That's partly because of our soy sauce, partly because we haven't added our coconut milk and all in yet. Okay. So going back to the curry paste itself, this curry paste has turmeric in it. There is one function of turmeric. The thing is, in any green food, this is a little kitchen hack. Turmeric will help retain the greenness in your food. try it out, even if you're making palak paneer. When you're actually finishing off your palak paneer, make sure to add a pinch of good turmeric into it. It actually keeps it keeps it green. It keeps it from turning blackish. So that is actually the reason we put. You want me to put this exhaust on as well? There's a spluttering over here. There's that much of aroma. Yeah. So this has already got turmeric. You can also add a little more turmeric to it. I am going to do that because it helps keep the color. Just adding that much to it. That was even less than quarter of a teaspoon. It was actually like more or less a pinch. So in the next few minutes, the oil separation should happen. It's already started happening. Look closely. Once that happens, we essentially put a little more water, a little more coconut milk into it, cook it over, add our vegetables, and we're sort of done at that point.
Are there chances of the coconut milk also splitting when we put it in this?
That's a good question. So it depends on what coconut milk you're using. If you're using homemade fresh coconut milk, which is lovely to use, there is a little bit of chance of it splitting in that. Okay. If you're using canned coconut milk, most canned coconut milk comes with sort of stabilizers, emulsifiers, and all of it. So those usually won't split. If you're using fresh coconut milk, it can split sometimes. Don't worry if it splits, it doesn't mean it's spoiled. Just make sure to whisk it nicely. Just slowly whisk it into your curry. It should be fine. But if you're using canned coconut milk, it shouldn't happen. Like over here, there's probably a. Yeah, I think they've used something in this. They usually use stabilizers or something.
This is the same process we have to follow if we use red Thai curry paste, right?
Or red Thai curry, yes, the exact same thing. Exact same thing. There's no difference. The only thing I will not be using in red Thai curry is coriander paste. I use it over here, which is to improve the color and a little bit of aroma. In red Thai curry, you don't really need to do that. But otherwise, it's all the same. Cool. So now, if you look at this, the oil separation has just started. At this point, I'm going to put in my pea aubergines because they will take a little bit of time to cook. So I'm just going to drop those in there.
For those who joined a little later, can you tell us like what flavor and what it adds to the dish?
Pea aubergines. Okay, pea aubergines, it more than flavor, it adds a little crunch to it. The flavor profile of pea aubergine is slightly piquant, which means it's piquant implies that it's lightly sour. Okay, so it's got a very different. If you guys have eaten green aubergine, not the long ones, but the regular small green aubergine, this thing's flavor is somewhat similar to that, but it's got more of a bite than anything else. So which is why I like adding it to my curry. It's not a necessary part of a curry. If it's available, it's a nice thing to have. It's one of those things. So if you focus in on this part, okay, can you see the oil started to sort of, there's oil separation that you can see. This is what you want. This is the stage at which your curry paste is pretty much cooked. And at this stage, you can start adding more water and coconut milk. So I'm going to go ahead and add all the water since I had measured it out, right? 100 ml of that. And now I'm going to add my coconut cream. Make sure to shake the jar a bit because many times what happens is you'll have most of the thick coconut cream on top and bottom of water. We're actually going to be putting it all inside, so it doesn't make that much of a difference. But just to let you know. Yeah, there you go. That's okay. I'm just adding in my coconut milk. So I put about 1.5 cans of it.
How many mLs is that approximately?
Right. So 1 can is 400 ml. Okay. So therefore, 1.5 cans is about 600 ml. So this curry that I'm making is good for 2 to 3 people if you're not eating anything else with it. Now we're just going to let that cook over. Okay. And when it's cooking over, this is the point at which I want to add more of my herbs. So lime leaves. When you prep lime leaves, make sure to, this is how you do it. That's my lime leaf. I hold the spine of it, this part of the leaf over here. Hold that with sort of one finger, and with the other finger, you just pull. So that we don't want. This is the lime leaf for a lot of aroma. Just sort of going to break it into my curry. I'll put a couple of more lime leaves into it again. Hold it there and pull. So I put a good 4 lime leaves. I really like the flavor and aroma of lime leaf. Already smell it here. Yeah, so I put about 4 lime leaves into that. The last herb that we need to put is basil, but basil I will be adding closer to the end because basil you want to add as last minute as possible. You don't want to cook it too long. When I put the vegetables in, the vegetables also I will be adding them after a little bit of time. Okay, so I just want to let this coconut milk cook over and this at this point. I'm just going to be putting a lid on it. Okay. I think we can go over and finish off the salad now. Yeah. Okay. So let's get everything in place for our salad again. Let me start by showing you the wakame since that's where we had started with. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So then if you look at that, it's totally like swollen over. So it's absorbed all the water. Okay. All you want to do now is keep your mixing bowl ready. Just squeeze out the excess water and put it into your mixing bowl. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. These are what the leaves are. Now you can clearly see the seaweed. Clearly seaweed. Right. The next thing we do is cucumber. So you see how I was saying. Now, if you see, I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but can you see they've actually softened up a bit? They've softened up a bit, but they're still pretty fresh. This is why I like putting them in brine. They haven't turned mushy.
So we've gotten 3 questions.
Yes, please go ahead.
So the first question is that can we use the actual kaffir lime for the curry? And
You mean
yeah,
the
you
fruit?
answered that. Yeah.
The fruit?
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on how you're using it in the curry. If you're asking me, can you use kaffir lime in place of the peel? Sorry, in place of the leaf? Uh, yes, you can. It will give you flavor, but having said that, you will have to pick it out of your curry later because that's got a very thick rind, and you're not going to want to be able, you're not going to want to eat it. It's going to be very bitter when you actually bite into it, even if you're cooking it with the curry. Which is why for the curry, I would suggest use the leaf. If the plant is accessible to you, most likely the leaf will be too. So you might still just do that. And if you do have the plant or you're able to get the fruit, use that to make a fresh curry paste for yourself. So that's how you can use kaffir lime.
The second question is the coriander paste has not been used, right, till now?
Not yet, not yet, not yet. There's still
And
time for that.
is the flame low for the curry?
Yes, I have turned it down. I have turned the flame down for the curry.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Cool. So my cucumber, I'm going to just plop in there. Shake off any excess water, of course. Yeah. So wakame, cucumber. Now we're going to put our onion into it. These have really nicely softened by now. They've turned nice and pink. So these are 2 small onions, if anyone wants to know. Make sure you remove the eye from the onion. Not only does that have a sort of off taste, but also when you're slicing onions, if you've taken the eye off of the onion is when you'll actually get these pieces to actually sort of disintegrate like this. Otherwise, they all tend to be bunched up. Okay, pickled onions, mint. Okay, some nice fresh mint. Again, it's been refreshed in water, so they retain their freshness. You can be generous with the mint. The mint in general pairs really well with cucumber. It also works well with wakame. Peanuts. So we're going to put some peanuts into the salad now, and we're going to put some to garnish. So again, depends on how much you like salted peanuts. I have a question.
So we don't tell.
Peanuts get soggy after a while.
Do the peas get soggy after a while? The peanuts? Yeah, they do. They do. So you want to, which is why you do this when you're actually like keep all your components together,
Okay.
and then at the last minute, that's a thumb rule for salads in any case. You want to make sure you get them as fresh as possible. Sorry, we're going to take a quick interruption and come here. So my coconut milk is boiling over. You want this to start happening. That's when it starts thickening a little bit. It has still got some time. Okay, it will thicken a little more. Especially when it cools down, this thing tends to thicken. So let that continue. I've turned the heat up now. Okay, I'm just going to let it thicken like that. At this point, I'm going to start adding some of my vegetables, since you had said how cooked do they need to be, and I said pretty much mostly cooked. I'm going to add my baby corn to this. I had kept the baby corn pieces long to show you how to cook them. I'm just going to trim them, cut them into bite-sized chunks. There you go, that's it. I'm going to plop these into the curry, followed by my broccoli. The broccoli is fine the way it is. These are already cut into florets. Okay, my pak choy, my mushrooms, all of this I will add later. I can also add the bamboo shoots to it now. Right, so in go the bamboo shoots. And this is just going to continue cooking on an open flame. I have turned the heat on high, just so you know. And we're just going to continue cooking that because it's close to being done now. We'll check the salt and all at the last minute. Cool, so let's go back to the salad. All right, so we've got all of that. Our dressing is already ready. I'm just gonna, yeah, in with all that dressing. Okay. At this stage, you just want to check for salt. Yeah. So the soy sauce was enough, plus the cucumbers are salted. Like I said, the onions are lightly salted, so you don't actually need more salt. If you weren't salting these vegetables, I might add just a pinch. And now we'll plate this. So when you're plating salads in general, what you want to look for is to give it height. Let's say you're doing it for a party or even at home, you want it to look nice. Always, usually try and pick a round plate for your salad. Round plates usually showcase height more. Longer plates, square plates, those showcase individual portions more. So you have like sliders. So you do on a square plate 3 sliders, or you have 3 pieces of like any meat or whatever. So it usually showcases a line. With a round plate, you usually use it to showcase height, which is why I've taken a round plate. To showcase height, it's really simple. All you do is just take as much as you can in one go, and that's it. Just, you know, a little bit over there. And then your garnishes will be on top, so that adds to the height factor. The salad's got plenty of colors, as you can see. There's some from the cucumber, a little from the wakame. There's a lot from the chili. So you can also add bell peppers to the salad. I mean, if you want it to look even nicer and also work, bell peppers will add a nice color to this. I am going to drizzle a little bit of this dressing on top, just to seal in the flavors. Yeah, just finish the garnishes off. Okay. Garnish with a little more of peanut. I like nuts in my salad, so just a little bit of that. Some sesame seeds. Drop it from a height, it spreads over much better. And some fresh mint leaves. Yeah, there you go. Your salad ready. That's your cucumber and wakame salad. You can take pictures or whatever.
Wow, that looks really good. It's making me very hungry right now.
Thank you. Guys, taste, go ahead. Want fork there as well. That's what I already tasted. Is it very spicy?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this one is going to be a spicy salad. You can choose to omit those many bird eye chilies, do much less, but yeah, this is the flavor profile. Are you guys able to taste the sesame oil? Yeah, see, that's the thing. The sesame oil is quite an important part of the salad. You can use another oil, but sesame oil is a strong tasting oil, so it's definitely, if it's there, you'll know. It's like that. And it works well with wakame.
Perfectly spicy. Not too much of
Good, I'm glad. You can add, so I mean, if I don't know how many of my audience are non-vegetarian, but I'm guessing there are a few since you would ask me. This prawns will taste really nice in the salad. And since earlier I told you about how to cook prawns and don't cook them separately and all, goes without saying for the salad you will have to cook your prawns first. Um, Use the same marination you would use for the chicken, which is a bit of soy sauce. With prawns, use very little soy sauce because prawns tend to have a lot of inherent salt, so it's very easy to make prawns salty. Very little soy sauce. Add lime leaf to it. Add a bit of chopped garlic. Goes a long way with prawns. High heat, a little bit of oil, and 30 seconds on each side. That's it. 30 seconds on one side, turn the prawn over, 30 seconds on the other side. Toss prawns into the salad. It tastes wonderful with cucumber and chili and all of that. Looks really nice.
Yeah, we've already got some messages in chat saying looking very tasty, chef.
Thank you, guys. I really hope y'all actually end up making this at home sometime. If you do, I mean, do send me a picture, tag me or whatever. I'd love to see people actually implementing this. Uh, Thank you. So yes, here's the verdict. He says it's looking very nice. I have to agree, although we can do a little better, which is what we're going to do now. That is the consistency. It's not very thick. Okay, I must emphasize on the fact that traditional Thai curry, especially green Thai curry, is not supposed to be a very thick Thai curry. The distinguishing factor between a red and green curry, apart from the obvious, which is the color, is also the thickness. Red curries are thicker than green curries. Okay. If you want to make this even thicker, just reduce the water content up to coconut milk. Same difference. I mean, it will give you the same result. But this is, I'm happy with this consistency. It will thicken a little when it cools down and all. That's the nature of these things. So our vegetables are like properly cooked. We can add the rest of the vegetables and finish our curry off. I'm putting in my oyster mushroom. See, at this point, this is where you can tell that the cook has been good on it because they've still retained their shape. They've got a nice char to them. I'm actually tempted not to cut them at all because I don't think they need it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these mushrooms in the curry as well. Mushrooms in, pak choy in. Pak choy, I think I will just cut them down the center. There you go. Plenty of vegetables in it. I'm going to toss in my zucchini. That's that. Now, this is the point where I'm just going to taste for salt because if you do need salt, this is the point where you can add it. So it does need a.
There's a question.
Yeah.
When do you use tofu if you're using regular tofu and not
If you're using regular tofu, also you use it now. Right at the end, you put your tofu in. If you're using regular tofu, you can put your tofu in before you put your coriander paste and all. But silken tofu breaks so much that I'm just going to put it in right at the end. I might actually just put silken tofu in the bowl and pour the curry over because that might just make things simpler. Okay. So your curry does need a little element of sweetness every now and then. I usually wait till the end to do that because it depends on your coconut milk. Some coconut milks they have what do you call it? They have a little bit of sugar in them anyway, so they don't need it. In this case, I feel my salt's okay. I need a little bit of sweetness to balance it. So on a side note, if you guys at home, so I'm putting one and maybe two generous pinches of this. If you guys do at home end up using jaggery, what you can do is make a syrup of jaggery. Just dissolve jaggery or boil it in hot water, strain it out later. You can use jaggery syrup in this curry as well instead of sugar. That's actually more authentic. Um, if you're looking at really authentic, try getting palm jaggery. That's what they use. It's got an almost nutty flavor, beautiful almost. It's very dark sort of jaggery as well. Try using that. Cool. So this is the point at which I will put basil in it, okay, and then I will finish it off with coriander paste. The coriander paste is right at the end. The point of coriander paste, the only function it has, the main function it has, is to enhance the color. Green curry paste, no matter what you do, it will always look green. But once you add coconut milk and all that to it, the color will fade and dull, right? So you need to up it. Some people use spinach paste in it as well. I prefer spinach paste may give it a darker color with less quantity, but I prefer using coriander paste because coriander is aromatic. Spinach is not aromatic. So it actually adds some nice flavor to it. Be generous with the basil, right? And usually put it in right at the end. You will also be using basil for garnish. So I'm putting plenty of basil in this. It really adds a lot of flavor to the dish. Yeah, so you don't really need to cook basil. There's enough heat in the curry for it to happen. So I am now going to go ahead and finish it off with my coriander paste. Since I've been using ladles, I'll do a ladle measurement on this. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to use one ladle. Okay, let's start off with a ladle and then see, or maybe use 1.5 ladles of this. So this coriander paste, sorry, I forgot to mention earlier, however I made the coriander paste, it's really just like making a chutney without any of the other stuff in it. I've taken coriander leaves, washed coriander leaves, cut the roots off, keep the stems. The stems have really nice flavor. Okay, and you just add that to a mixer, very little water, just as much as you need to make a paste because you want a thick paste. Even in this, I've used the paste at the top because it's thicker. You don't want a very watery paste. And you just blitz it. That's simple. Make sure you add a little bit of ice while you're blending it. The reason to do that is that the mixer heats up, and any green leafy vegetable, the chlorophyll starts dying after a certain temperature. So once it starts dying, it will start blackening. So you put ice in it because ice will anyway break down into water, which is what you need, and it keeps the jar cool over and above the mechanics of the mixer itself. All right, cool. So that is, I'm just going to give it a final taste, but it's more or less done. Just a little more. Cool. So we can plate this up now. We can also give it a little more color. So I'm gonna add just a little more to this. So all in all, you can say I've put about 2 ladles of coriander paste in this. So if you're wondering how much coriander you'd need for that, I mean, one small bunch of coriander is enough. Cool. So I'm going to turn the gas off now, the heat off, it's done. It will simmer on its own heat, and we can now start to plate this. I think first I'll heat up the jasmine rice. It's already cooked. You just need to fluff it a little with a fork, add a little bit of water, and then sort of microwave it. So I've already got a little bit of warm water here, so I'm just going to do that. Yeah. I'm going to pop that into the microwave.
Has the tofu been added?
No, like I said, I'm going to be putting tofu into the bowl in which I'm plating because I'm using silken tofu. So it breaks. So I don't want that to be the case. I want you to be able to see the tofu. So I will do that when I'm plating. If you are not using silken tofu and using regular tofu, you can go ahead and add it in your curry at this point. Yeah, so I'm plating up. Like you can see, I'm adding my tofu to this. The tofu doesn't need to do a lot in terms of absorbing flavor, and like silken tofu really breaks really very fast. So I'm just putting my tofu in this directly. Now I'm just gonna spoon my curry over this. That's the oyster mushroom. All right, there's our curry. Going to garnish it with a little more basil, fresh basil. Garnishing is really important, guys. I'm strong believer in it. I think you eat about 50% with your eyes first. So yeah, so just some nice fresh basil leaves. Be careful to pick the right leaves. And the thing is, if you're doing this with fresh curry, hot curry, your basil leaves don't really need to be cooked separately. If you see 4 or 5 minutes into this, the leaves will start wilting anyway. That's why I add my basil leaves right at the end. Basil leaves, you can add some fresh chilies to it just for color. And I like to finish this off with a little chili oil. You can make your own chili oil. This is a brand that I usually get. It's called Sprig. I've seen it around at retail stores these days. Otherwise, you get it off Amazon. It's useful. Like, I mean, I've used this entire thing across various dishes, multiple dishes. So, because you just add a little bit to each dish, but it gives a nice eye appeal, even for Indian food. So, put your finger on the top of the bottle just as a little stopper, and there you go. Drizzle a little bit over. Our rice should also be ready at this point. Yeah. All right. So yeah, done. There you go. You can take it out on the table also and do it if you want to. There's better lighting there, I guess. Take the table.
Looks amazing. I hope the
Thank
other
you.
people were able to follow along. Guys, you can post it on WhatsApp, on Instagram, and tag us. If you're okay with it, you can just raise your hand over here and we can spotlight you to see if you what you guys have made. But anyways,
Yeah, I'm taking it out towards the dining table. There's like better lighting there. So if you want to look at it properly, take any pictures, etc. That works. Yeah.
Uh, okay, wow. I'm very hungry right now. Um, so I'm excited to see everyone's dishes and what they've made. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, especially thank you to the chef. I'll pass the stage over to Ritika, who will close the session.
This session was actually so much fun to watch, and it was such an enriching session. Thank you so much to Chef Sumedh for conducting this session and for providing, for taking your time out and to conduct this, and for providing all the small tips and tricks that you've provided and the recipe as well. And all these tricks will actually help even in cooking other dishes because of all the small things that you've told us.
Right.
So thank you so much for that. Um, apart from the chef, I would also like to thank the Rotak District 3190 for providing us this link so that we could conduct this session for all of you. Also, the main one of the main parts of a session like this are the participants. So thank you so much for taking part in a session like this and for cooking along with the chef and for asking all those questions so that everyone knows and everyone is aware of the different things that might just pop into your mind. So thank you so much for supporting us, Rotract, in such ventures and for helping us raise funds so that we can use these in our social projects. I hope like we will continue to conduct such events, and we hope that you continue to support us in the future. And apart from this, our road track team has done such a great job in organizing these two workshops. So thank you so much to Yesha, Nihar, Anirudh, Arufina, and Sakshi, because you have organized these two cooking workshops and it has gone really well. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you once again,
Also,
Chef Sumedh. Yes.
yes, sorry. Also, remain in the WhatsApp groups. We'll let you know when the certificates have been provided. Also, if you have any questions related to anything, I'm sure you can reach out to the chef on his Instagram handle, which I've put in the WhatsApp group.
That's true.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Am I still on mute?
No, you're on.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't realize that. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for attending this. Also, you all have been very cooperative, I must say, the entire shooting and all of that. This was fun for me as well. I haven't done a lot of online workshops before. I keep putting stuff up on my Instagram, so I'm always posting things I do there. I run my own pop-up menus every now and then, so those also I run from Instagram. So in fact, Thai curry I pulled out from one of my own menus. That was actually one of my best-selling menus till date. But yeah, it's been interesting doing this. I like the questions that I got. I mean, again, going back to the fact there's a lot of participation. I like that, and I really hope you guys have taken back something from this. So feel free to reach out if you just want to talk about food in general or have any queries or whatever. Just hit me up on my Insta or whatever if you'd like to speak to me. Otherwise, that's also fine. But yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.